times. And for today's, we are going to be doing rundown on Toys in the Attic. So we got a legit, well, they're all masterpieces, man. All these things we do for Classic Rock Rundown, we try to pick, good ones. And man, what can you say about this? But now that we've got the introductions, and of course, cumulatively, you make the Rock and Roll Residency and off here. So track list, title track up first, Toys in the Attic, Uncle Salty, Adam's Apple, Walk This Way, big 10-inch record, side 2, Sweet Emotion, No More, No More, Round and Round, You See Me Crying. So who wants to kick us off first, guys, with in the Rockers Forum with some comments about Toys in the Attic?
You want to go track by track, like what a great opener. And even from the cymbal, the thing at the beginning and just immediately
Absolutely.
in, band in, all full throttle. It's just, great opening track. And they still play it. They still play that tune in the set today.
Yeah.
So the Residency has covered that song probably more than any other Aerosmith song.
You're talking about Toys in the Attic, right?
Toys in the Attic, yeah. And he's right, man. That.
And I'm going to reference a quote that I want to read from Jack Douglas himself. And he said, Aerosmith was a different band when we started the third album. They'd been playing Get Your Wings on the road for a year and had become better players. Different. It showed in the riffs that Joe and Brad brought back from the road for the next album. Toys in the Attic was a much more, I want to make sure I get this exact, sophisticated record than the other stuff they'd done. And I wanted to have Jeremy start this one because we've dealt with topics similar to this on the other rundown that you were a part of, in terms of mature, when you have people commenting on bands having maturity and sophistication and this and that. And what do you think about, and the fact that it's Jack Douglas does give it some weight. I mean, you got to stop and think he is the producer, but what do you think about that comment and taking it in context of the first Aerosmith album, Get Your Wings, and then of course what we're talking about, which is Toys in the Attic?
I think it's Aerosmith's first real definitive statement, because the first album was the songs that they've been playing in clubs, and it was like the songs they wrote when they were a brand new band. And then Steven sang in a weird way on the first album, which he'll admit to. And then, Get Your Wings, it's pretty much common knowledge that Joe and Brad didn't even play on a lot of it.
Yeah.
So to me, Toys is like the first real statement of great Aerosmith, because the tunes are all there, the production is there, and I listened to it today through my earbuds, and you could really hear how carved out the two guitar parts were.
Yeah.
And man, a lot of times that shit's really unorthodox too. It's not like your typical two guitar part.
It's not
thing.
It's not just riffs and stuff. The arrangement of all of these songs, and for Rocks in particular too. Those two to me are kind of almost like Rubber Soul and Revolver. They kind of they go together so well. The parts are really unique, and like if you want to skip to the number 2, Uncle Salty, that's a really odd rock song.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's really strange.
It's like kind of swing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Really odd, like the parts are weird. And it isn't a typical like a rock song found in a rock, even in the 70s when you could do anything you really wanted to do. It still is really, really odd. And that just isn't the only one on here like that, but and it builds and builds, and it's just all these cool little arrangement things and different guitar sounds, because you still can't tell what gear they're playing. Because a lot of guitars, it's like, oh, that's a Strat and a Marshall. Oh, that's a Gibson and a Marshall. Russell Westphal and a Marshall. You can't tell what gear they are. And I'm not sure what even they were using on this record, because you can't tell.
And man, a lot of the guitars are kind of clean, and they're dirty, but they're not dirty.
really
So yeah,
not in the
he's right.
AC/DC, not in the AC/DC way. Like the Aerosmith had like a special way of sounding like them, and it wasn't just like a oh that's a SG through a Marshall. It just sounded way different.
Yeah, and you guys are right. I mean, there's such a between Whitford and Perry, there is this interaction that is really special and unique to Aerosmith. I don't know that I've ever heard a band that has a dynamic exactly like that, or really really similar to that, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
No, because most two guitar teams have a guy that is like, he plays most of the lead and the other guy is, does most of the rhythm. Those guys really chop up the lead stuff evenly. And I've kind of gotten to where I can tell the difference.
Yeah.
You can tell who's who now. I got better at it when we were digging into these records. Jeremy and I did a thing where we did this record and Rocks. We played them in order back to back. So that's we
Oh wow.
dug in and listened to
Yeah,
all.
so we've gotten to dig into the parts really deep.
Yeah, and some of it's just it should not work. It's just like how did they do? Because we really didn't. Because for a lot of these songs, there's not lessons online for them. Like for the big ones there are, but for some of the other ones are not. So we had to still, go to the old days and listen to it, figure it out, and go. And we'd play it. We play it together, and it's like,
that
yeah,
doesn't
that's
sound
right.
But
But
it doesn't sound right. And then you play it with the band. It's like,
yeah,
that's right.
Like these two things should not work together at all. Like it's just very, very, very unique arranging.
Well, so we talked about, as I mentioned to Jeremy, we've been through that topic before about a release being more sophisticated, more mature, and that coming from either whether it's a producer or someone close to the camp, or whether it's from a critic. So let me riddle you this. So in terms of being, and there may have been part of that quote, or there may not have been, but another quote from, and I believe it was Jack Douglas. I hope I'm crediting that appropriately. They talked about Perry and Whitford and really the whole team being better players from the road. And I wanted to talk to you guys about that specifically, just because of this run you've been on for the last few years, spending, what was it, a year and a half, 2 years with Gene, and then coming directly into your work with Ace. What is it about being on the road that you think might apply in this situation? Because of course back then we all know the cycle. I mean, it was,
oh man, it's consistency.
Yeah, you're doing it every night.
Yeah,
and like in a
situation every night.
In a situation like Gene and Ace, we're doing a lot of the same songs. Now, when we were doing the residency every Tuesday, man, my playing was as good as it's ever been.
Like, we were doing not a brand new, we were doing new songs every week, and we'd have songs that were 4 solo stretching out, and when we were doing that, I don't know how we did it.
And like the first song of our second set was always one that we stretched out in the middle, and each guy could solo to his heart's content and wrap up whenever they felt like it. And it was like the Tip Jar song. And man, just after 2 years of being able to explore and just and really just like follow creativity and your muse, man, like consistency like that. And I know they were doing a lot of jamming, so it's kind of the same thing, man. You just start jumping in and like finding places that you didn't even know that were in you. And like the last album we did, which was Van Halen, that was their third record too, man. After touring 2 albums, man, you're gonna come to your third album with a lot more maturity and confidence.
Yeah. Let me jump over to the ballad in the track list. You See Me Crying. And one of the questions that I wanted to ask was, with each of you being, and myself included, all of us being Aerosmith fans, do you feel like that song, given the success of the album Toys in the Attic, could it be one of the more overlooked Aerosmith ballads, considering what happened later in their career was such a high volume of ballads? And I'll start with Phil on that one.
Yeah, I think it is. Because Dream On wasn't a hit until
76.
76. Yeah,
That's a good point.
that one was overlooked then, and so I guess that kind of got. This one did get overlooked by that one. They did know that one. But yeah, I love this song. I've always loved the ending. I've always thought Steven was a great piano writer.
Mm-hmm.
And they do a ballad really well. I do think Dream On's a better song.
Yeah, sure. That's fair. No, that's fair.
But no, I do love this. I've loved it all the whole time. I got this out. I didn't get it when I was 3, but I got turned on to it when I was 3 years old. My brother. So this has been in my life a long time. I don't know who Dee Solomon is. Dee Solomon is the co-writer of "You See Me Crying."
I was looking at the back of my record sleeve too, and I don't know who. I also did not know. Yeah. Jeremy, how about you, man? What's your perspective on that?
Kind of the same as his. I mean, same thing. And it's also the last song on the album. So the last song on an album is always the easiest one to skip over. And, since I was 0 years old in 75, merely months old, I don't really know how people reacted to rock ballads back then. I mean, I know, like you said, it took Dream On 4 years.
Yeah.
3 years. 3 years.
And not just Dream On. I mean, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I can find it here. Sweet Emotion.
But, like even for Kiss, Beth came out in 76, and
right.
That for every fan that brought, that cost them a few fans also.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think if I'm not mistaken, Sweet Emotion didn't even catch until 77. No, I'm sorry, it was Walk This Way. Walk This Way hit Billboard Top 100 at number 10. It cracked top 10 in 1977, and the album was released in 1975. So that's an interesting point that you bring up there.
That's strange. Yeah, I didn't know that Walk This Way.
That was a new piece of information to me. I think I probably could have told you. I would have guessed that it sold 7 or 8 million copies, or 6 or 8 million copies. I didn't know exactly, but the information that I looked up did say, or did state, based on the RIAA certification, that it was 8 times platinum. But the Walk This Way, that did surprise me, because I didn't know what happened in 1977 that didn't happen in 1975, if that makes sense.
They had a long Draw the Line came out in 77.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not sure what month. I don't know. And who knows, like, why this, I don't, it's weird when a song, especially when it's like 2 years after Sweet Emotion, there was a video of that in the 90s.
Yes. Yeah. But I remember it well.
That was for a box set package. Yeah.
For Pandora's Box? Is that what it
was? That?
Was that for Pandora's Box?
Pandora's Box.
Yeah.
And
because it was a remix.
Yeah, that's right. Because my brother had Pandora's Box. I remember, I couldn't afford it. I was a kid, but my brother had Pandora's Box, and I remember being really intrigued and looking through the booklet and some of that stuff. So yeah.
That's the great thing too about Aerosmith albums, they always put great sleeves and stuff in here.
Well, I will say real quick, before we go on to any other information, I will say now, it looks as if, just kind of looking through history, the reception of the more you do albums from the 70s, the more you see this story seems to be the same one across the board, but it almost seems that every album, the reception is mixed initially, and then it goes on to have crazy success. Because what the story you always hear with Destroyer is that diehard fans really did not care for Destroyer initially. and then it goes on to sell 3 million was destroyed, triple platinum. Yeah, I think so. 3 million copies. Then you talk about this album. So originally, and really, it sucks to use Rolling Stone as a source of this kind of information because they're notorious for something that happened in the late 60s or the 70s, giving it 1.5 stars, and then
Led Zeppelin.
Oh, Jan Winter.
I knew that was
John
coming.
Winter was just John Lennon's bitch, is all he was.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, he hated Zeppelin. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
But so basically, just to kind of go through a couple sources, All Music gave the album 5 stars. Blender gave the album 5 stars. Rolling Stone Album Guide. Now, I did not find what was initially given to.
Oh, it'd be funny to see the first review.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, and the album guide gave it 4.5 stars, but the album guide I know came out later. So I was looking here in my notes to see if I had anything about the original, but it does say, let's see, Rolling Stone reviewer Gordon Fletcher compared negatively Toys in the Attic to Get Your Wings, which in his opinion was testimony to the band's raw abilities. He criticized Douglas's production and wrote that despite, quote unquote, some good moments, the band did not avoid instances of directionless, meandering, and downright weak material. Man,
how can you meander in a 37-minute album with 9 songs?
I mean, leave it to Rolling Stone just to totally totally. I mean, if you're looking at them as a source,
what's that guy doing now, and what the fuck does he listen to?
Yeah. And I keep. Do you guys remember what was the guy's name who said that? Well, different band, different topic, but anyways, yeah, I think if you're looking to Rolling Stone as your source of good information about albums and album releases, you're probably just screwed. Yeah. So, anyways, let's. I wanted to ask real quick. All right, so just one track on the out of the track list I did want to touch on briefly in big old 10-inch record. I found a note that says in the liner notes to Pandora's Box, which we just mentioned, Tyler insists that he sings "Except on my big 10-inch," not "Suck on my big 10-inch," but laments that no one on earth believes him.
No, he said accept. It's like accept, like a
exactly. Yeah.
I can hear that. He live. He knows what he says, but I hear that when I listen to that song.
I know what I sing when I sing the song.
Yeah.
Which is all that really matters, right? Is what do we sing when we're listening to?
Plus, of course, he's going to say that because
Yeah.
He doesn't want to take any shit.
Well, no, and this is no joke. It was like 6 o'clock this morning or 5:30 this morning my time, and I'm getting ready. I'm trying to make some notes about this evening, and I've got a friend who works like an early shift here close by, and I messaged him and I said, "Did you ever know that the lyric in Walk This Way said that cheerleader was a real young bleeder? The times I could reminisce." And he was like, "No,
fucked up."
Yeah, exactly. And he was like, "No, man, I missed that." And then he sent me back something, and he was like, "Did you ever catch the line on FINE from Pump that said this and this and that?" And he gave me 3 or 4 lines, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's even worse." So it's like But so anyways, we could go on. We could wax poetic a lot on that type of stuff, but I think that it's obvious that this is a legendary album. I mean, you look at the track list, and I would ask. Let me ask you both this. So, of Toys in the Attic, talk about for each of you some of the I'll call them highlight moments. What are some things when you think about the album? and you don't necessarily have to be listening to it, but when you think about the album, what are some things you go back to that really you remember fondly about either the album itself, your first experiences with the album, or so on?
Just seeing the cover, because
Yeah.
for a 3-year-old kid, this has toys in the title.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why I was attracted to it. And it's also in the A's, and my brother's record collection was alphabetical.
Yeah.
So it's one of the first ones I would see, too.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
And an interesting note, this is the Alabama Crimson Tide mascot. I read
I did
I didn't
not
know
know that.
I read an interview with the guy from Pacific Eye and Ear, the company that did this one and tons of other albums, and he said, yes, that's Al. So
No kidding.
interesting,
Wow.
and what a moody picture on the back. It's just everything about
basically Guns N' Roses said we want all of our photos to look just like that.
Yeah, it's just super
Yeah,
moody.
yeah.
Powers holding the staff in his hand. Perry's just in that. It just looks so cool, but it's just so dark and everything. So it's just an attractive looking thing. It's just awesome looking. And as far as songs, I think "Sweet Emotion" has to be maybe the greatest side 2 track, like number one, side 2 song.
Yeah.
And there's some good ones.
Oh.
Light Up the Sky, Unchained
Yeah.
is there. There's some good side 2 to track 1 songs, but Sweet Emotion is amazing. And I think No More, No More may be my favorite Aerosmith song.
We're gonna come to that. That's actually you kind of read my mind for as we start to wind down. But I was gonna comment quickly on, it was interesting to me that with Sweet Emotion, and I'm thinking back to the 70s, and I'm thinking about, and admittedly, man, I'm a sucker for a talk box. Like that is, if you were to poll me and have me, like, that's probably my favorite guitar effect ever. It just sounds so distinct and cool, and it's not overused. It's one of the few things it's just not overused. It's not overdone. And Sweet Emotion, to your point, Phil, I think you were the one that mentioned Pandora's Box and Sweet Emotion coming out in the 90s, because that's really, as a 11-year-old, that's the video I remember. And because that's the one, if I'm not mistaken, it's exactly as Van Halen would call it, it's about the spank line, right?
Spank line. Yeah.
So, but I remember seeing that video and thinking, man, what a killer effect, that is. And then I remember my math teacher in college telling me that she got the album taken away from her because of the line that said, "You can't catch me because the rabbit done died." And I was like, what the hell did you get the album taken from you for that for? I don't even know what that means. And so, like, I didn't realize.
Oh, really? It wasn't because of the chick bleeding line?
I guess. It's like, yeah, exactly.
Killing rabbits.
Yeah. So, so I found out what that means in researching this, which I'll spare the audience from hearing what I found out with that. But anyways, my excuse is I was a kid, so you can't know everything, and I know far from that. So, but anyways, let's do this. Let's go to. I don't want to do a lightning round on this one, but let's go to this. Let's go just around the horn here, and let's do favorite track from Toys in the Attic, and we'll start with Jeremy.
Dude,
I know it's a tough one. It is a tough one, and to be fair, if you want to give a runner up, that's cool too, because I'm probably going to do that.
Man, honestly, there's like fucking 3. I don't know how to narrow it down to one. No More, No More is definitely one of those. Uncle Salty, because it's kind of beatly, and man, it's not a rock song. It's kind of swing, and there's that beatly thing at the end. And then we haven't mentioned Round and Round yet. When I was listening to it today, like, this came out in 75 and Destroyer came out in 76. It's sort of like God of Thunder not sang by this fucking, demon-y guy. It's a fucking super, super heavy riff.
It is.
And
Yeah,
it, it
definitely.
it it doesn't have like evil lyrics or anything, but is every bit as heavy. So I'm gonna have to go with those three. I can't do one. I'm no good with
No,
picking ones.
that's cool. You hey man, you can have three. How
But no
about you?
more, no more is awesome. It's got that open tuning thing, and then that solo at the end, and super melodic in the chorus. Man, that song's
It's
definitely
the one that Joe Perry wore two guitars for,
that.
which is the coolest. It's
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah,
coolest.
yeah,
Is why
yeah.
I play guitar because I
That's a
saw a
good
picture
point,
of
man. I
it.
didn't think about that. That's a really good point.
That's where he wore like he'd play because it's in open tuning except the
Yeah.
solo at the
The
end.
solo, he's like, yeah.
So he has this. I forget what the tuning is.
It's some weird A tuning because when I was listening to it today, I could tell like, well, I don't know. Actually, maybe it's like an open E tuning because they hit
Yeah,
that
because
E
it's going
chord.
ding, dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun, dun,
yeah,
dun. I think it is an open E, and then it's a standard tune guitar for the solo. So he just flips it around, gives it off. Yeah. So but
Yeah.
that looks cool, and it's the coolest looking thing ever.
And if I'm not mistaken, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but anytime you're looking at and this will play into I want to go to Phil first, but anytime you're looking at this stuff and you see something like that, you see a guy with using an open tuning for the entire song, but a different tuning for the solo, and he's like swinging guitars around and trying, like it makes when you're a kid or young anyways, and you're seeing clips of this kind of stuff, like it makes those guys almost out of the realm of musicians and more into the realm of like they're almost like an Avenger or something. You know what I mean? It's like they've
Yeah,
almost got a
superheroes.
superpower that you're, yeah,
And these guys weren't even wearing makeup on their face. It's like
exactly, yeah,
they had achieved that by tucking leather pants into cowboy boots and wearing two guitars, and that was the same effect for Joe Perry. And it was when you don't understand it anyway, and with 3 and
yeah,
4 years old, and then when you see that, you're like, it's like the double neck. It's the same. It's two guitars. People's minds explode when you see the double neck guitar, and it's the
yeah.
same kind of deal. It's just it's a you know, I'm sure he could have got away with not doing the two guitar thing, but thank God he did. He
yeah.
did
Exactly.
that,
Yeah.
you know.
Hey Phil, let's roll over to yours, man. How about favorite track from
Now,
Till You Met It?
I'll do no more, no more. It's probably my favorite Aerosmith song, period. But close, uh, close runner up probably is Adam's Apple,
Yeah,
which is really one of the most looked over Aerosmith tunes. It's got that lick. The main lick has that D string bend to the open G that I've ripped off in like most of the licks I've ever written. I've taken that thing
Yeah,
is so
you'll
cool.
find that one on the Residency EP. We did steal it for a song.
Yeah.
that's all right, man. You know
Hey,
what they
And
say.
one thing I noticed today when I was listening to it, did you notice that they, he, whoever is the main player on that plays it different a couple times? A couple times they do a double C note pull off, because most of the time it's just a couple times he goes da 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 da.
oh
I
yeah,
noticed that
yeah.
today
Probably
when I was
no.
listening to it. So it's not the same every time.
Yeah, and it
And
starts on a weird beat too. It's like one
Yeah,
of
it
the
does.
songs that you've got to like you hear it wrong, and then you've got to unhear that way to hear it the right timing. There's no count off or anything. Just guitar starts on a weird upbeat too, and it's just a super. I can't think of a lick period that's greasier than that, and it's just
yeah,
absolutely.
right.
It's so cool, and it's a solo Tyler composition. So I wonder if he. I don't know if he wrote that guitar lick though. That sounds like Joe Perry.
No way.
Yeah, that sounds like pretty much Joe. But
Joe Perry,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Well,
that's a great. The choruses are great in that song. The way the guitar solos go, that's a great one too. So that'd be my number one, number two.
well, we're gonna make it a hat trick, at least in one sense, and I love when this happens. So I'm gonna do a tie basically with my favorite, and I can give you a reason why. When I was a kid, what the first clip I ever remember seeing of Aerosmith was a live clip, and it was of them playing Toys in the Attic. And something about, maybe it was being a kid and the fact that toys were in the lyrics. I don't know. But hearing that chorus just drew me in, and seeing, it's like seeing Steven Tyler and Joe Perry there huddled up around the microphone and they're singing that chorus of song like that. I've always loved the title track to this album. It's just got a special place with me personally. And I don't know, one of the networks that we had, and I grew up in an area where we didn't have cable until I was 12 years old, something like that, 11, 12 years old. So in before that, on one of the networks, they would do this thing like this day in music history. And it was something about Aerosmith. I don't remember the topic, but that was the clip and that was the song that was used in it. So for that reason, I go to Toys in the Attic tied with No More, No More. So obviously, No More, No More to me stands out. If you got the three of us talking, and not that my opinion holds as much weight as the two of you guys, but it just seems to me like that obviously it's a very popular track amongst Aerosmith fans, which I think all of us, certainly qualify as being so.
They still play it every once in a while, I think. They still throw it in the set occasionally. I don't think I've ever seen them play it, though. I don't think.
Did either of you guys make it to the Residency this last time out in? Yeah? Cool.
Yeah, we went together.
Oh, sweet. Okay. I didn't know that.
We were on tour with Ace on the West Coast. We had a few days off in a row, so we flew to Vegas.
Yeah,
we jettisoned over to Vegas.
For the show, and I got this shirt and a lot of others. they had a good merch booth.
Yeah, I got a balloon.
So I got a sticker. I got a balloon. I got some stickers, and then we got hooked up, and we got to go meet Joe and Steven, and
oh man, it's great.
Well, awesome.
My brother and I, we missed the Aerosmith residency. We caught Billy Idol's residency, so we did come. Yeah, so we did come up with something pretty cool. And to hear Billy Idol open up with "Viva Las Vegas" was pretty interesting. That was pretty awesome. I mean, you guys can paint the visual yourself, or you can go on YouTube and find the clip. But it was pretty killer. I was interested in seeing the Aerosmith residency. So kudos to you.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was incredible.
Now, I just finished. I've had Greg Renoff on the show just recently to talk about the Ted Templeman book, which maybe you see behind me here. Yep. But anyways, he talked about with rocks. Okay, because Greg Renoff.
It was done with mirrors.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, that's right. So we're done with mirrors. Man, I hope I haven't been saying that wrong the whole show. I'm going to really be upset with myself. But anyways, so he was talking.
Overdub yourself.
Yeah, that's it. The whole thing's got to be edited, so why not?
Have me do
it. He was talking about so Ted Templeman was talking about Done with Mirrors. And what leads me to this next question is there's a really cool moment in the Ted Templeman book by Greg Renoff that talks about how Joey Kramer calls Ted Templeman and they get into a cursing match with each other about the sound of the drums on Done with Mirrors. Joey is upset about the sound of the drums and so on and so forth. Well, anyways, so I was wondering, did you see Joey Kramer during the residency, or was it the other guy?
It was John. It was John Douglas.
It was John. Okay.
Yeah.
I apologize to forgetting the name, but I just wondered.
He killed it. I mean, John did great.
Now he is Joey's drum tech, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's what. Okay. Yeah. That was that.
He also is he's a great artist.
Yeah.
Painter, and he makes drum kits too. Like he's Alex Van Halen's drum tech.
Oh wow. Okay.
We met him. There was a Nashville drummers salute to Alex, and they always did something real special for these shows. This one was amazing. Alex sent his drum kit from the Different Kind of Truth tour, and the drum riser, and his tech, John
Wow.
Douglas. So we met him there.
That's awesome.
But he also, like, he makes the drums. He makes all Frank Beard from ZZ Top's drums, like all those. Most really beautiful drum sets that you see touring in big acts are John's. He's a super nice guy too.
Well, you know what? And I feel bad because his name escapes me, but so I'll save that for another episode, or maybe just in talking with you guys in private. But you know, that really is, as far as questions go, that's really it. So I want to spend just a couple minutes here just recapping where everybody in the audience can go to get, because my quote is so profound, I don't think I need to say anything else about the EP. So where everybody else can go to pick up the Rock and Roll Residency EP. Now, the official release date, one of you guys correct me if I'm wrong, is, let's see, tomorrow's, so July 24th? Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, sweet.
It's on Bandcamp now.
Yeah, it's on Bandcamp now, but it's going to be
on the 24th. It'll be
pretty much anywhere you want to, wherever you
stream it or
stream.
download it or buy it or whatever.
Yep, it'll be.
I'm going to encourage everybody to go buy it so you guys get paid. You know, you can buy it and then stream it after the fact when you need just elements of convenience in your life. You know,
I like that.
That would be fantastic.
I like that.
Hey man, you know, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you coming on, and Jeremy, thank you for being on and pointing out that you are the first. I gotta go to Hobby Lobby and get some kind of a plaque or something. Yeah. Any further closing comments, I should say, from either of you guys on this, whether it be Toys in the Attic or Residency stuff coming up?
Somebody's listening to this for some reason and doesn't have it.
Yeah.
You go to your favorite streaming service now, and you don't have to buy it. You can just listen to it. There's no excuse. You must do it right now.
How about you, Jeremy? Anything else?
Like I said, I think it's Aerosmith's first real statement. You know, the first album's good. Get Your Wings is great, but you know, that one came after a couple of years of consistent touring and playing a lot. And you know, Jack Douglas is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Producer, and you know, he had a lot to do with getting those sounds too, because I know they were still, you know, they were a great live band, but they still didn't know a whole lot about being in the studio. And you know, Jack did. I don't know, man. It was just like perfect timing. A great producer, band that had been on the road a lot and wrote some great shit, and it's real versatile too. I mean, it's not like a rock record. It goes into swing and big band and kind of Beatley territory, and it's got it all.
Well, when you're talking about a guy who really worked, when you're talking about a guy whose name is synonymous with Aerosmith and Cheap Trick, that says a lot, you know, right there. So
John Lennon.
Oh yeah, and John Lennon. I'm sorry, I missed that one altogether.
So,
thanks.
It's killer.
So and as far as our EP, man, if you like classic rock, check it out. I mean, like,
absolutely.
Philip and I love rock and roll. We love old rock and roll, and you'll find a little bit of, you know, every great band in the EP. I mean,
that's
you
right.
can really, if you listen, you can find them all in there.
Yeah, I'll echo that for sure. I mean, I've been through it. I think when Phil and I talked, what's that been, Phil? A week or so ago, that I was probably through it. I think I told you 5 or 6 times. I'm probably through it 10, 11 times now. And I mean, it's just, you know, something about the vibe of the songs and the sonics and everything else just make for a very welcomed experience. Shit, I don't need to say anything else. I've already given my quote. My quote. My quote's the benchmark now, baby.
All the way. It can't be topped. I wish the album was as good as your quote. Really? Now I'm like, well, God, we got to make another one now to live up to that.
Well, while you're making me sound so good, we'll just wrap on that note, man. Thank you guys for coming on for a classic rock rundown for Toys in the Attic. And I should mention, not only Toys in the Attic, and although we are not on the day and month, but 45th anniversary. I gotta put that in there. Celebrating the 45th anniversary of Toys in the Attic. Can you believe it? So
That means it's my 45th anniversary too.
yeah. So thank you guys for being here, and I sincerely appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Good, man. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you.